There's this incredible idea that our destiny isn't really shaped by what happens to us, but by what happens inside of us, inside our own hearts and minds. And today, we're going to dive into a story that brings that idea to life.
And really, this all comes back to this foundational principle right here. It tells us that true, lasting change, whether it's for just one person or a whole community, it doesn't just happen. It has to start from within.
And you know what? There's this timeless story that shows this perfectly. It's all about how our thoughts, our internal state, can literally create our external reality. It's a journey from seeing only lack to seeing abundance, and it all kicks off with one simple shift in thinking.
So let's paint a picture. Imagine a really busy train station, people rushing everywhere, and in the middle of all that chaos, there's this one guy who's always there. A beggar. For years and years, his whole world has been defined by one thing: asking. His entire existence is built on the idea of taking, of not having enough.
But then, one day that whole static world just gets shattered. He has an encounter with a wealthy merchant that's going to challenge everything he believes about himself, about his life, about everything. This moment right here is where it all changes.
So the beggar goes up to the merchant, right? Probably expecting a few coins. But instead of money, he gets this simple, calm observation. It's like the merchant held up a mirror to his life and just said, "You always take from people." It wasn't mean, just a fact. And it cuts deep.
And then comes the question that completely stops him in his tracks. A question he has probably never, ever even thought about. It forces him to look past his own hunger and really think about his relationship with the world.
See, what the merchant is saying here, this goes way beyond money. He's talking about a universal law of value. Life is an exchange, not just a one-way street of taking. To get something, you have to offer something first, and it starts with believing you actually have something valuable to give.
And those words, they just land with this incredible weight of truth. The beggar is just frozen, not because he's insulted, but because of this sudden, shocking realization. A totally new thought starts to bubble up where that old feeling of worthlessness used to live.
And boom! That's the light bulb moment. For the very first time, he sees the connection between his own actions, or his lack of action, and his situation. He realizes he's not just some passive victim of his circumstances, he's actually an active part of the whole equation.
And what's amazing is that his personal breakthrough actually echoes this timeless spiritual truth. Giving doesn't make you smaller, it makes you bigger. Having something to give isn't about how much money you have. It's about having a heart that's ready to offer something of value to the world.
Okay, so here's the best part. This new mindset doesn't just stay in his head. Nope, he immediately puts it into action. He decides to test this whole new idea with the simplest thing he can possibly find. So he starts this little experiment. He goes and gathers some wildflowers growing near the tracks. Now, whenever someone gives him a coin, he gives them a flower back. And the result? It's immediate. It's undeniable. People react to the exchange. They start giving him more money. And then, when he runs out of flowers, his earnings drop right back down. The proof is right there in his hands.
It's like he's seeing this divine promise play out in real time. He gives something small, just a simple flower, and what he gets back is so much more than what he had before. This just cements his new understanding. Giving is what opens the door to receiving.
So fast forward a bit. The merchant happens to pass by again, but this time, the whole encounter is completely different. This meeting, it marks the end of that first and most important stage of his transformation.
The merchant takes the flower the man offers him and says these powerful, powerful words. He doesn't just see a beggar holding a flower. No, he recognizes the shift in identity. By taking part in an exchange, the man has become a merchant. And hearing himself called that, well, you can just imagine the spark of dignity and self-worth that must have lit up inside him.
I mean, just look at how fast this all happened. For years, he was completely stuck, but the second his internal mindset shifted, his entire external world changed at lightning speed. In just 6 months, he goes from being defined by what he lacks to being defined by what he can offer. Incredible!
The final meeting really brings the whole story full circle. The merchant can barely even recognize this well-dressed, dignified man standing in front of him, and the man explains that those words from the merchant taught him the single greatest rule of life. You receive when you give. He changed his mind, and his entire world changed right along with it.
So what's the big takeaway from this incredible story for us?
Well, the lesson isn't just about business or charity. It's about this fundamental connection between our inner world and our outer reality.
The story really gives us two clear paths. There's the beggar mindset, which is this vicious cycle of scarcity, and it's all rooted in a belief that you're worthless. But then there's the merchant mindset, and that's a cycle of abundance. It all starts with seeing your own value and interacting with the world by giving and exchanging. That's what leads to a life of dignity.
It's almost like our self-perception is a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know? What we truly believe we are, we become. If we look at ourselves through this lens of weakness and lack, well, that's the world we're going to live in. But if we believe we have real inherent value and something to offer, that's when opportunities start to show up.
And this profound statement just brings it all home. It suggests that our reality, and maybe even our relationship with God, is shaped by our own expectations. If we expect goodness, generosity, and abundance, that's what we're going to find.
So really, the final takeaway is an invitation. It's an invitation for all of us to shift our perspective, to stop defining ourselves by our limitations, and to start seeing the value, the strength, and the capability that's been placed inside every single one of us. Because the greatest gift we have is a heart that can give.
And that leaves us with one last very personal question. Forget your job, your bank account, what other people say about you, deep down in your core, how do you see yourself? Because that perception right there is shaping your entire world.